Now we're going to talk about Bronny James and LeBron James and the ongoing conversation around nepotism. So this has been ever since Bronny got drafted by the Lakers. He was the 55th pick, right? I think he was the 55th pick selected by the Lakers round two,
That's right.
which that confirmed everyone under the sun speculation at the draft that the Lakers are going to draft Bronny so that they can be the first father and son people to play together in the league at the same time, much less on the same team. There's been an ongoing conversation about problems with nepotism. They've been talking about it on all the shows. They was talking about it on First Take. They was talking about it on the Fox shows. Is everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and give our thoughts on this particular angle of this conversation here. But first, to set the stage, here's a bit of an op-ed that was written in USA Today uh, of an individual giving their opinion on Bronny being in the NBA, being drafted by the Lakers, how it's nepotism, and why there shouldn't be a problem with that. So this says, yes, Bronny James is benefiting from nepotism. So what? After Bronny James was drafted by the Lakers, putting him on the same team as his dad, an ESPN insider said something that resonated with me. It was in response to the uproar about LeBron, Bronny, and nepotism. I didn't understand why there was so much uproar about it when nepotism is the NBA way, when it's the American way. This insider put it all in perfect perspectives. I don't want to hear these charges. People talking about nepotism. The NBA is full of nepotism. Adrian Wojnarowski said. The ownership level, front offices, coaching. I don't want to hear it all of a sudden because Bronny James' father plays for the Lakers. It is rampant in this league. It's rampant not just in the NBA, it's rampant everywhere. Nepotism is a mechanism mainly for the powerful and has been and has been for centuries. It's almost canon. It's also not just the super rich. A middle class dad gets his son a job in the company where he works. The 2010 U.S. Census outlined just how extensive nepotism is in the country. It said that 22% of men whose fathers were present in their teenage years will work for the same employer simultaneously as their fathers. There isn't a part of society where you don't see it. Donald Trump's administration was full of family members and lackeys. He took nepotism to levels no one has ever seen and likely will never see again. The NFL is rife with nepotism. There are enough Belichicks to fill an NBA coaching staff. Sports broadcasting overflows with it. There's nepotism in officiating. It's all over sports. Shador Sanders plays for his father, Dion, at Colorado. Austin Rivers played for his father, Doc, while both were with the Los Angeles Clippers. USA Today Sports' NFL Coaches Project examined nepotism in the league in 2022. 12 of the 34 NFL head coaches, including two interim coaches, were related to current or former ones. Of the 717 on-field coaches that season, at least 93 or 13% had a father, son, or brother who was a current or former NFL coach. Hollywood is so full of Nepo babies that Vulture created a flowchart and called it the Hollywood Nepo verse. The Bronny specific criticism in this level of nepotism is different because he's going to get a roster spot because of his dad. That kind of parsing is just silly. Nepotism is nepotism. There's nothing different about this than Cowboys owner Jerry Jones having several of his kids working in his team's front office. The James family is actually using a low grade form of nepotism compared to some of the other forms of it. This is nothing. So y'all can go ahead and continue reading that if you want. All relevant links that we use for our videos are in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and check that out for yourself. But this is obviously someone who is a proponent for this, who does not care about the nepotism angle because everybody's doing it. Stephen A. Smith says similar things. Who cares? Everyone does it. I don't want to hear about that. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith brought in the race angle, suggesting that people who have a problem with this simply have a problem with this because they are threatened by black people who can exercise. So it is never a dull day in sports media when Stephen A. Smith cannot race bait in this way.
I love
But
it.
that was his angle, and everyone else seemingly is on board with this. That any sort of outcry when it comes to nepotism over Bronny James being drafted needs to be silenced because Everyone does it, so this shouldn't be a problem. What do you make of the nepotism part of the conversation surrounding Bronny James getting drafted by the Lakers?
Well, I mean, I love the fact that this person brought up all these examples to justify why nepotism is okay and we shouldn't care about it. But in all of those industries where they were naming all of this nepotism going on, I will also argue that the quality of these products are also going down. And when you're dealing with people who aren't qualified to be in positions to be doing some heavy lifting, but they're not qualified to do so, then naturally the quality of your product is going to fall off. I don't know how many times we've seen examples of TV, movies, or whatever, where the grandfather who ran the company, who was holding it down. What was that? What was that movie with Farley in it? Chris Farley in it. Um,
Uh, uh,
Black
I
Sheep.
know. No, that wasn't Black. Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy,
Tommy
yeah,
Boy.
there you go. Yeah, in a situation like that where he got it on lock, he been doing this. He know all the trade routes. He do all these things. He was making it work, But then naturally, the one that came up under that had life easier, didn't take that route. Now, that's okay at times or whatever. You want to look out for your family, whatever. But sometimes you can put your business in the wrong hands. And so they mentioned Hollywood like that's a good thing and that there's a Nepo universe. Well, yeah, you know, that's why acting has gone down. That's why screenwriting has gone down, in my opinion. It's too much, it's too many people in there that's in there because it's a club instead of who's talented. Much like how we were talking about the last topic with Sexy Red and no balance in the game. They keep putting in all these crazy people out there that don't have talent to serve an agenda instead of serving the art form itself. So for the basketball purists, people like myself who are complaining about this, we're just trying to uphold the integrity of the game that we love watching, that we already see falling by the wayside. There's a lot of guys that's in the NBA right now or on their way to the NBA that have either fathers or whatever that played in the league, but and I know that there's grace with that too. I understand that there's grace because that's whoever's son and potential and whatever. And some of those guys may have or gotten drafted or got positions that they air quote didn't deserve because of who their father was. I'm sure that has gone on in history as well. But those guys worked their way out of the league in 1 or 2 years, you know. And so it's rare when those guys actually sit there and stick. We're starting to see more examples of it now where these guys are sticking because they're actually talented.
Right.
So the situation here with Bronny is that his high school is a mystery. I can go down and I can click on anybody's mixtape, a guy that was, you know, ranked, 35th overall in the country. He's got a crazy mixtape going. But there's not too many things out there. There's stuff out there with Bronny, and he was playing a lot of popular games and stuff, but he wasn't that kid out there that was doing that level of domination on that level. And if you watch any NBA player and you watch their high school stuff, they're literally flying all over the place and it's crazy stuff. Now there's guys that didn't do all that outrageous stuff and still made it in the league, but the point I'm trying to make here is that and on no level did he show that he was better than his competition. And now he's going to be playing with guys that are professionals, and he was playing in guys his age group. So my issue with this is for Bronny. My concerns for this young man being thrust in this position where he could be ready in 2 or 3 years, but right now he's not. And when he goes out there, and I don't know how this is going to work. I know it's going to be a sideshow, and the Lakers are in this only for the money. And the conversations are out there, but them signing these two, they're going to make this money tenfold. So they don't care. They don't care about winning. They're in here for their little Disney show that they're gonna put on out there. Documentaries, movies gonna get made about this. It's all kinds of shenanigans. And the Lakers' legacy is gonna be tied to this because they're gonna be in all the movies and stuff like that, documentaries in the future where this rare phenomenon happened. But just ask me this: how many athletes do you know? All right, not even just, scraping the surface. This guy's 40. And he's going to be into his contract. As he might be signing a 2 or 3 year deal. And last thing I'll say is, what athlete that can play like this still? And I'll let you, fill in the blank there. And then I'm telling you right now, the league is gonna rig this. They're gonna have this tryout season next year when he's doing his farewell tour, and they win a championship. It's written. Nah, bro, it's already written, bro. So they're gonna mail this year in. This is the JJ Redick excuse season. This is the Bronny excuse season. They're gonna position themselves for his farewell tour. They're gonna win it all. And he's gonna ride off. Yeah, he's gonna ride off into the sunset, bro. I'll put cash on this. I'm telling you, this is the script. And when they do this, when I tell you I'm going to ban the NBA, I will ban it. I'm already on my way now. But what are your thoughts, sir, of nepotism getting crazy in the NBA and them saying that, hey man, it's all good because well, everybody does it.
I cannot believe you. I can't believe you went that far.
Or they're gonna do it.
They're gonna win the championship,
Not this year, next
bro.
year.
I know what you. I know what you said. If that happens, I'm done. I'm done.
I'll quit.
I am done. Um, Not to come to LeBron's defense, because I am a certified LeBron hater. Although other people use that word, I just say I tell the truth. But whatever, semantics. I think that the people who are saying people need to calm down with the nepotism stuff. So here's how I think about this. There's a big part of me, right, that says talent should be given an equal opportunity, blah, 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 all that good stuff, right? But I've also very well documented in my stance that I don't believe that there's a such thing as fair. I don't believe in fairness. Fairness doesn't exist. Um, you get what you can in life based upon what you can work to earn and through your relationships. By hook or by crook, the world is constructed that way. I will agree with you, however, because the world is constructed that way, it does lead itself to a deterioration of quality potentially. I do concede that point for sure. I think for every example of a success story, because like you look at Kyle Shanahan, right? That's nepotism all day. Like Kyle Shanahan wouldn't be where he is if it wasn't for his daddy.
Mhm.
But I would also argue Kyle Shanahan is good at his job. I think he knows what he's doing as a coach. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like it's water under the bridge because even though he got there because of his dad, he's earned his stripes because he does have the intellect, the mental capacity, the temperament, the fortitude for that job in that position. So it worked out. But for every example of Kyle Shanahan, there's a Jim Buss. Somebody who was the son of the owner got thrusted into that position because of nepotism and nearly ran the team into the ground. Jim Buss was a horrible owner during his tenure for the Lakers. Almost ruined the franchise until they booted him out of there and Jeannie took over. And I would argue Jeannie's doing okay. She's doing slightly better, but it ain't leaps and bounds better. So I think for every instance of nepotism that works, there's an instance of nepotism, or there's actually probably for every one instance of nepotism that works, there's probably 2 to 3 that don't. Like the ratio is like 1 to 2, working versus not working with respect to nepotism. Having said that, I don't entirely hate this story when it comes to Bronny because I put myself in LeBron's shoes, and I'm gonna just be 100% honest. I asked myself, if I ran a company, would I put my son on before another person who's a stranger, who might be more deserving, who might be more qualified, but I want to give my son the opportunity, knowing I'm probably going to give my son the opportunity. I'm just being real. Like if I was in a position of authority, if I ran a company, if I was in the position to employ somebody, I would probably put my son on before I opened it up to the public and said, "All right, let's let somebody in who's less qualified." Now, I'm going to give my son the opportunity to fail. If my son fails, you had your chance, you're done. Let's get somebody in there who's probably more qualified. But I'm going to fast track his opportunity to be able to get a bite at that apple. I know that I would do that. Now, here's the difference though. Me being the person that I am, I am going to put my son through the rigors to ensure that despite the fact that he has that opportunity, he's going to make the most of it and not be a total abject failure. LeBron cannot guarantee that for his kid because the NBA is the NBA. LeBron can't make Bronny grow 5 inches and become a whole different kind of basketball player. You're 6'1". Well, how tall is Bronny? What is he? 6'4", something
Six
like
one,
that.
6'1", 6'1".
He is okay. So like you're barely taller than Chris Paul. So there's an aspect of this to where Bronny's ultimate success in the league isn't guaranteed. It's just not. So in the event that there is a failure of his career, is that going to reflect poorly upon LeBron? Probably not. But is that going to reflect poorly upon the idea that nepotism was justice served? Yeah, it ain't going to look good. It's not going to look good. And it's not going to look good for all the people who suggest that nepotism needs to go away. And I'm not here to argue on behalf of it or to argue that it needs to go away. I'm somebody who's kind of caught in the middle and saying, I do believe that qualified people should get the chance, that there shouldn't be this idea that I can put my people on even if they don't deserve it. But I also at the same time am saying if I'm in that position and I had the chance to give my son an opportunity, I would certainly try to give my son that opportunity. Like I know I would. But I would also see to it that my son reached the levels of qualification that would almost give him the best possible chance of being successful. Now, that's a far cry from the NBA though, because in the NBA, like I said, Bronny's success isn't guaranteed. You know, you know, Bronny does not have the predisposed genetic gifts that his dad has, so he can't grow. There's no food. He can't eat a senzu bean and grow 4 inches and become 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and can dribble, pass, and shoot and see the court and do all of this stuff that his dad can do. So there's less of an ability to control the trajectory of Bronny's career. And like I said, in the event that Bronny's career doesn't succeed, it is going to do justice to the people who said, see that instance of nepotism right there? That was that was injustice served rather than justice being served. So for his sake, he better hope that it works out because it is not going to quiet the nepotism noise. But when it comes to the greater conversation surrounding the place that nepotism serves in the world, I get it because I would probably exacerbate the problem myself if I could. Maybe not when it comes to the NBA because I'm not in the NBA. But if I ran a company, if I was in a position to employ people and I could hire my kid and put my kid in a position to potentially succeed, where someone else didn't get that opportunity merely because I didn't have a close relationship with them, I would probably exercise that privilege. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but I do think it is human nature. I just hope that for Bronny's sake, uh, it works out in his favor. Because, like you, I agree he ain't ready. He probably should have been in college for at least 2 years minimum. Now that he's in the league, he needs to be a G leaguer, but the Lakers are going to capitalize off of this for marketing opportunities and promotional opportunities and partnership opportunities because you can't pass it up. Father and son playing on the same team together. He's going to have a roster spot. How many games he plays throughout the season? Who knows? And that's the part of it that I think is rubbing people the wrong way, the orchestrated nature of it. So I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm not here to defend that part of it. I'm just saying, in a vacuum, I would probably exercise the same privilege if I could. But I am also somebody who moves a bit different than LeBron. I'm going to make sure that my kid is being positioned to succeed rather than being positioned to just benefit from this situation independently. Hard to pull that off, obviously, in the NBA because there's a brief window, especially when you got LeBron trying to be this father-son tandem thing. That further complicates the issue. But for Bronny's sake, I hope it works out for him because it's not going to be very quiet in the event that it doesn't.
Well, and that's my thing. Like, and don't get it twisted. And I know you don't, but you know, I'm not against Bronny. I don't think, there's people out here that's out here saying that the guy's trash and all this other stuff. And the guy clearly has tools. He just needs to be able to, play amongst, competition and, guys that are really good and hold his own. And that's going to take some time, in my opinion. And I don't think that that's something that he can't do. I think that, he's going to, those years that we think he should spend in college, he's going to be, figuring that out in the NBA. So I'm saying this to say that 5 years from now, when LeBron's not in the league, if, Bronny keeps trying, he's going to be in the NBA. And in my opinion, a serviceable role player, in my opinion. So I don't think that he ain't got it. It's just the way that this whole thing that went about, how it went about would rub people the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way. And and it started from his put on with his rankings. Then it was the McDonald's All American thing. Then people want to talk about a cardiac. I'll give him that. I'm not, but you at USC and you doing your thing on whoop de whoop, but while you're there, you're not really doing much. You're quite pedestrian, and but there's still all of this hype still. And that's the part about it where everybody is watching this. This is like the JJ Redick thing, where it's like, stop lying to us and just do this, and just let Bronny play how he plays. Let him get ranked how he get ranked. Let him not get drafted if people didn't want to do that, and then just pick him up off free agency. But it had to be this story that his son was highly ranked, McDonald's All American, got drafted. It's this whole story. That's the problem here, in my opinion. That's not nepotism. That's weird stuff. That's not just trying to put your people on. That's trying to make himself look bigger. And this is the weird part about this. And this is the part that everybody's witnessing and nobody likes. This is the guy that puts himself out in the media all the time. He's the one that's talking about last year or whatever that was, when he's saying that my son can be a rotational player in the NBA now.
Right. Yeah.
He's the one doing all of these things. And this is the weird part about it, which is drawing all this attention. And again, with the nepotism thing, I could see if this was his business. I could see if he ran the NBA. He don't. And so
Some
this is
some
not.
say some say he does.
Well, yeah, him and Clutch, they're running the La Mafia over there. You know what I'm saying? Him and Rich Paul, because he's such a cash cow, and they're leveraging that hard as hell. Which is all the more reason why we're never going to hear about LaBalco. Because at this point, the NBA is completely invested in this cash cow. And Adam Silver allowing all this collusion and all of this weird stuff, allowing Rich Paul to be doing all of this weird stuff, shenanigans, in order just to make this happen, and just for him to get drafted. This guy could have went undrafted and just signed him, but no, you need all this weird stuff. So it's not just the nepotism that's rubbing people the wrong way; it's how this whole thing's going down, and you're forcing this weird narrative on everybody. So yeah, is it going to be cool when Bronny throw an alley to his dad? Yeah, that's live as hell. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa, because Bronny got hops on the low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all of that's going to be cool or whatever. But once that nostalgia is over, of yeah, that's just kind of whatever. But they're going to play this whatever, and so this guy is making sure he stays immortalized in some type of way, and that's the part about it that's corny and cringe. But hey, to each their own. People can have whatever they want to say. Of course, for my child or whatever, of course I'll put my child on. You know what I'm saying? It'd be Tommy Boy 2.0. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, I don't give a damn. This guy completely can run this place into the ground. Still my dog though. So I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him in position. I'm like, hey, bro, if the family fall off, that was on you, bro. And I'll just tell him straight like that. But but yeah, I'll still do it. So yeah, I get it, man. What else are you fighting for? What else are you trying to do? You got to put your people in position. So nobody's hating on that, man. If you are, you're weird. It's just the people out there that really tried to work their way into the league. It's people that work their way into something, and they're watching all this stuff go down, and they're like, "Hey, man, what happened to meritocracy?" that was never a thing, guys.
Yeah.
That was never a thing. And last thing I'll say is that I've also said that in the league, there's a hell of a lot of politics. There's dudes that's been that aren't in the league, or at the very end of a bench that can outplay a starter. It's just that the starter is the one that got that contract first. So we gonna play this guy because he's making the money. You're not gonna get any playing time. So since you're not gonna get any playing time, you really can't put on display how good you really are. We'll send you down to the G League. You drop 30 a game. Another team assign you, but it's the same situation over there. You never really hear this dude, but I swear, if you give that guy 25 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever a night, that he can prove that he's an NBA caliber player, but he never gets that opportunity. And so there's tons of guys that fit that mold that has come in and out of the NBA, and some guys made it out of the NBA due to politics because of who they knew or whatever, who their agent was or whatever. And so those types of things do go on. It is a business. So we're witnessing the business aspect of this whole thing. And so yeah, this is business. This is narrative. This is, we can sell this later. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on with this. So, in hindsight, the Lakers would have been foolish to not do this, because then LeBron just would have followed wherever and just did whatever. So yeah, it makes sense for the bottom line, and that's what the NBA is anyway. They don't really care about the customer. So yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm not hating on Bronny. I wish him the best. Honestly, he's a nice young man, and I think he would be a solid rotational piece once he fully develops. But I still think that's like 2-3 years away from now. But yeah.
Yeah, I think what everybody is discomforted by is the orchestration of it. I think
Yeah.
that's what is rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, nepotism in a vacuum, I don't think anyone is put off by that necessarily. But this has been an entire production going back years to when there was speculation that they were trying to make this happen. And it's just
Yeah.
the coordination of it is what's, I think, rubbing people the wrong way. And
Right.
they're using nepotism as a way to sort of express that. Um, people use Austin Rivers as a comp, but Austin Rivers was an NBA player,
Right.
and it was, he may have been able to, get on to the Clippers because of his dad, but it was a foregone conclusion that he was an NBA player. So I don't know that that's a direct comp, because
Not.
Austin Rivers, when he was in high school, was the number one rated player in high school in the country. He was usually between 1 and 3, depending on what ranking you were looking at. And then obviously he got drafted number. What was he? Number. What was he? Was he?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I
What
don't
was? What
remember
was
that.
Austin Rivers got drafted? He was. I know he was a lottery pick.
Crazy.
Um. So
Yeah.
Austin Rivers was the 10th pick overall. So in 2012, you know what I'm saying, and he was a pretty prolific player at Duke. So you can't compare that to Bronny, who was never rated higher than 19th and averaged 6 points a game at USC and didn't really make an impact, and was the 55th pick in the second round. Like the juxtaposition between between the journeys of those two guys, I don't really think Austin Rivers is a good comp, even though you could make the nepotism claim if you wanted to. So I just wanted to put that out there, because there are certain aspects that are key in terms of the differences between their two journeys that make them different. But overall, I just think that people are rubbed the wrong way by how orchestrated this seems. But what else would you expect when you're dealing with the LeBron machine?
A little orchestration, bro.
Yeah,
He's just like LaDrake. They
yeah,
both do the same. Yeah, they both do the same thing, bro.
yeah,
Everything's a
yeah.
put on.
Yeah, it's not all dissimilar, honestly.